Hello, Earthlingers. Alright, so I'm going to tell you what it's all about right here. I'm going to tell you what all of life is about. Don't click away. This is important. I'm going to keep it concise. I know there's a million other people out there saying in 10 million different words what they think life's all about, but I'm going to say it with mathematical precision so that our, attention deficit generation of dimwits can learn what the fuck it's about, instead of just wandering around in a super all the time. So stay tuned. I promise it'll be worth it, unless you have to go help your mom or something, in which case that definitely takes priority. You got to take care of your mom. That's important. Doesn't matter if you have the worst mom or the best mom. You got to take care of your mom. If you have the worst mom, you got to prove that you're better than her by doing things that she doesn't deserve and breaking her heart because she doesn't deserve it. And then if you have the best mom, you got to prove that you're worthy of her by showing your appreciation and just like cooking your dinner every once in a while, whatever you need to do to prove that you're worthy of your mom. If everybody just made a concentrated effort to be as good as or better than their mom, then I think the world would just keep improving over time. Because everybody would be forced to keep growing, keep stepping up their game until eventually we all had perfect moms, and then we would just have to be perfect to one another. And I don't think that's too much to ask. I think that's pretty easy actually if you really just realize what you are. You can pursue your passions and your idealistic ideas of what you desire without being held back by being worse than your mom. Anyways, back to the point. I'm digressing, even though I said I was going to be very concise, and I apologize for that. So we're going back to what life is all about. Stick with me here. So the whole reason that your soul is here, I'm going to explain it really simply. Ready? Okay, so people use terms like good versus evil, God versus Satan, and those are becoming inadequate, honestly, because they're far too laden with connotations in individual minds to really be of use. People have these ideas of what good means in their mind, and they can't diverge from that ideological structure. So the whole concept kind of becomes useless. So simply put, what it's all actually about, not like aside from good versus evil, is it's materialism versus spirituality. That's the actual spectrum that you're working with here. So your soul, and you are a soul steering a body. You aren't just a body. Anyways, your soul is being tested within the matrix of this body, this little caveman that we all have, that's trying to hold us back, that's trying to preoccupy us with simple little things. We are the soul steering the caveman, and we have to steer to the best of our ability. And the lowest end of the steering your caveman spectrum is to give in to the materialistic, animalistic aspects of your instinct. And that doesn't necessarily mean I just want to acquire material goods for my caveman. That also means that if you're just obsessive with the desires of your physical body, because your body itself is a component of materialism. So if you're obsessive over my body really likes this, my body really wants that, I got to get all these things for me and my body, then you're being enslaved by materialism, and you're essentially entrapping your very soul to have to try to learn these lessons again later, because you have lessons to learn. That's why you're here. And if you allow yourself to be stuck in vain superficiality, then you didn't learn your lessons. You got to try again. Anyway, so the opposite spectrum of materialism is spirituality, and if that has negative connotations, just think of it in terms of philosophy or the accumulation of knowledge and intellectual growth, because these are spiritual concepts. So spirituality obviously doesn't have to be tied to religion, which is often cursed with these false interpretations of materialistic individuals who are self-obsessive and don't necessarily realize that they are corrupting their very own ability to interpret things. So, I mean, there's wisdom to gain in religious texts, of course, if you're willing to read into the connotations and the allegories and beyond the surface level of things. There's definitely a lot to gain from those things, and there's a lot of various truths, and one of the biggest truths is obviously just don't serve false idols, don't obsess yourself over unnecessary silly things. And you know, and one of the biggest ones, which is obviously is just like, hey, you should be awesome and not be a dick. That like, and that one's pretty hard for people for some reason. Don't really understand. I guess like there's a lot of temptations or whatever, but but yeah, once you have the foundation within your soul of like, hey, I'm gonna be awesome and I'm not gonna be a little dick, then you get to start exploring the further realms of spirituality, which is the highest spectrum that you, as the soul steering caveman, can attempt to gain or to learn about. So I mean, once you have that foundation, then you then you get to start exploring the real nature of reality. You know, once you have the foundation of like, I am connected. I am part of my environment. I'm not just this material thing trying to get things for itself. I am part of my environment. I can, you know, I can float in and out of the minds of other people. I can float into the sensation of being plant life, of being animal life. I can, you know, I can have. I don't really have the words to convey my thoughts here perfectly, but once you have the ability to recognize yourself as, you know, far greater than your simple little caveman, then options open up. Then like perceptual expansion of your capacity to grasp reality starts to incorporate infinitely more incorporeal, beautiful, wonderful things about the mathematical, musical precision of everything unfolding perfectly from all points in space at all times, and all that sort of nonsense. So, so yeah, that's really all it is. That's the entire test of your body is materialism versus spirituality. So, hopefully, with that knowledge, which you probably already had, it's already intuitive inside of you. It's just a matter of whether you've articulated it to yourself or not. But hopefully, just having that foundation will help you to pursue the things in your life which are actually important and which are, you know, beyond the silly instincts of the animal mind. So, that's that. I'll talk to you never again, because I'm gonna float away and transcend and disappear. And bye!